Good morning, everyone. It's nice to have all of you here with us together in spirit of the full moon poet day, which is the official date being tomorrow. But of course, it is easier for all of us to do it over the weekend. So the theme of today's session or the whole day retreat is Nekkhamma, renunciation. And and I'll be offering teaching step by step, journeying from the basic stages of Nekkhamma, where any practitioner who chooses to take upon a practice of goodness, take upon a practice that changes one's way of interpreting the data that we collect from the 5 or 6 senses, and then slowly bringing our minds into a position of stability, and then, of course, going into the deeper states of Nekkhamma, which can be established with good grounding upon both Sila, morality, Samadhi, concentration, and of course, Prajna, which is Vipassana, or insight that arises or is cultivated through the practice of Vipassana or insight meditation. So before we do that, usually a part of this Nekkhamma or this process leading to the higher states of Nekkhamma renunciation is the conscious determination that we would give up or take up a discipline that would enable or create the foundations necessary within our environment, our own lives, and especially in our conscious mind, to now be able to let go of those that are considered lesser, petty, smaller, in hopes of reaching the higher, Nekkhamma, right? Letting go of the lesser in hopes of reaching the higher, right? This does not fall into the craving aggregate. Why does it not fall under craving? Because craving is the amassing, the collection, the further growth or saturation of anything to do with the 5 sensual pleasures, right? With the sensual pleasures. What are the 5 sensual pleasures? The pleasures that arise to the eye, the ear, the nose, the tongue, and the body through tactile touch, right? Anything that culminates in the growth, the further experience or holding on to sensual pleasures would be the craving aggregate. When the craving aggregate is no more, what happens is the mind feels a sense of liberation and peace. Because at the end of the day, everything that we worry about, everything that we spend time thinking and trying to control and all of that is to do with the 5 sensual pleasures. Think about it. So, as our first step of the day, our determination as a group that has come together, maybe some of you are sticking on with us for the whole entirety of the retreat. Maybe some of you is unable to do so because of other commitments and is sort of heading off midway. Regardless of what you choose to do, if we are able to determine onto ourselves the Ajiva Attamaka Sila, right? To spend the course, the duration of the day, not engaging in, of course, any form of killing or taking of life, which I'm sure is an easy one for most of you, right? Which includes not killing mosquitoes or insects or cockroaches or anything of the sort, right? Even the little pests, anything which has life, not taking away. The second, not taking what is not given, or not stealing rather, right? Not stealing. The third, not engaging in any sort of misconduct over your body or another person's body. The fourth, not lying, right? Not lying, speaking the truth. The fifth, not engaging with any sort of speech, backbiting speech, speaking ill of another person behind that person's back, right? That sort of speech. The sixth is hurtful speech, speech intended to hurt, intended to hurt. Sometimes we might say nice things and the people might take it in the wrong way. No, this is speech with the intention to cause hurt, not engaging or not speaking anything that is intended to cause hurt in another person's mind. The seventh, not engaging in meaningless conversation, idle talk, right? Just chatting just to kill time, idle talk, talk without any aim in mind, right? Eighth, not engaging in any sort of wrong livelihood, wrong means of livelihood, which in the sense of the Sila, it is to do with, slavery, weapon trade, trafficking. I don't know how many of you might find that difficult to do, but if you are, keep away from it today, right? Right? So these eight, right? These eight. So we have a way for those of you who are not very, proficient, who do not know how we would usually determine the sila, so you can watch. But these are the essence. So if we start, maybe Anoma, if you can chant Namo Tassa, and everyone else can do it in silence for the taking of the precepts.
Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa.
Buddhang saranang gacchami.
Buddhang saranang gacchami.
Dhammang saranang gacchami.
Dhammang saranang gacchami.
Sanghang saranang gacchami.
Sanghang saranang gacchami.
Dutiyampi buddhang saranang gacchami.
Tutiyampi buddhang saranang gacchami.
Dutiyampi dhammang saranang gacchami.
Dutiyampi dhammang saranang gacchami.
Dutiyampi sanghang saranang gacchami.
Tutiyampi sanghang saranang gacchami.
Tatiyampi buddhang saranang gacchami.
Tatiyampi buddhang saranang gacchami.
Tatiyampi dhammang saranang gacchami.
Tatiyampi dhammang saranang gacchami.
Tatiyampi sanghang saranang gacchami.
Tatiyampi sanghang saranang gacchami.
Saranagamenang sampunnang.
Amabante.
Panati pata virmani sikkhapadang samadhiyami.
Panatipata veramani sikkhapadang samadhiyami.
Adinnadanha virmani sikkhapadang samadhiyami.
Adinadana veramani sikkhapadang samadhiyami.
Amesu miccācara virmani sikkhapadang samadhiyami.
Kāmesu miccācārā vīramani sikkāpadan samādhiyāmi.
Musavādhā vīramani sikkhapadan samādhiyāmi.
Musāvādā vīramani sikkāpadan samādhiyāmi.
Pisunā vācā vīramani sikkhapadan samādhiyāmi.
Pisunā vācā vīramani sikkāpadan samādhiyāmi.
Parusā vācā vīramani sikkhapadan samādhiyāmi.
Parusā vācā vīramani sikkāpadan samādhiyāmi.
Sampapalāpā vīramani sikkhapadan samādhiyāmi.
Sampapralāpā vīramani sikkāpadan samādhiyāmi.
Vichā ājīvā vīramani sikkhapadan samādhiyāmi.
Miccā ājīvā vīramani sikkāpadan samādhiyāmi.
Saranena sanding ājīva attamaka sīlan dhammang sādhukang surakkhitang katva appamādena sampādhete.
Bhakti. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
I wish you all the very best in your determinations to adhere to the Ajiva Atmaka Sila for the whole duration of the day. And hopefully you will make determinations to adhere to the Ajiva Atmaka Sila full time beyond the course and duration of the retreat. Because if we do understand the 8 principles of the Ajiva Atmaka Sila, it also forms the Sila foundation for anyone who wishes to progress progressively through the path of insight. Now, before we go on to the meditation at 9 o'clock, a further sharing of a piece of Dhamma that is in tune and a supporting piece for today's theme. We speak of, in the Dhamma, we speak of samadikti, right view. Right view. Right view is something that is of pivotal importance to the Eightfold Noble Path. It is the first part of the Eightfold Noble Path. We all know that. Right view. Now, right view, I do not wish to go so deep into right view, but think about this. We all have views, right? We all have views. These views have been created with our modern methods of life, with our experiences, with our learning, our upbringing, our environment that we live in, all of these views. Sometimes, let us say, before we, if we are from another culture, the members of or people who originate from that culture may have different views and practices. Us, we might have different practices to them, right? Now, the Buddha did not instigate that everyone must be of one view. That is not what right view is. But right view is one because views are the way that the mind works and chooses to work. It conditions the way that we exercise what we think is free will. Views is how we would cognize information and put it into the little baskets of understanding that we have. Views are the way that we make decisions day in and day out. Views are the values that we hold. Those values starts with view. The morality that we choose to adhere to starts with view. Right? So in the stretch or practice of nirvana, or the path leading towards nirvana, everyone, first we have an unfiltered, unpolished collection of views. These views determine what is important to me, what is not important to me, right? Then we go on, that is a raw form of view. Raw form of view. The second part is, with the learning of the nature of the world, nature of the universe, nature of what is of the moment, the Dhamma, right? We now begin to polish the views that we have, or take up views that have not been practiced or not been adhered to before. And these views are also views, but these views, what results from these views now is different, right? What results from these views are different. In the conversation of the practice of rites and rituals, we understand that if one practices, let us say, even a Buddhist, let us say a practice, right? The giving of, let us say, a practice, a show of generosity, which is something that the Buddha has spoken very highly of, right? But the show of generosity, the display of generosity, or generosity itself, is done without a right view. What happens now? That generosity does not support one's renunciation. That generosity does not support insight. That generosity does not support your path towards enlightenment. Why? Why does it not support? Because the generosity, although we might assume it to be a generous display, the intention was not aligned to what you were doing. Sometimes we might, at times where we lack awareness, we might show or have a display of generosity, help a person, but help a person with ulterior motives, right? Help a person with ulterior motives, right? And we've seen it, we've done it before as well ourselves, right? When we did not understand, or maybe when the hindrances took over a bit. But when we do understand now, the show of generosity does not fall under uh, um, let us say, a fake sort of view, or miccha ditti, wrong view, but it falls under samma ditti. Now you're giving with the right intention of support to the process of giving. Do you understand? That ditti, right? That ditti, that right view matures. That right view matures to what we say right thought. Right? The second part of the Eightfold Noble Path, right? Noble Eightfold Path. This right thought is divisible into three different categories. Avihimsa Sankappa, Avyapada Sankappa, and Nekkhamma Sankappa. Avihimsa Sankappa is thoughts of non-harm. Avyapad Sankappa, thoughts of non-hatred, right? Non-harm, non-hatred. And Nekkhamma Sankappa, thoughts of renunciation. The theme and focus for today is this last part. It is not last because it matures last. It can mature first before the rest as well. It doesn't matter. But our focus is that last part or last bit, which is Nekkhamma Sankappa, everyone. Nekkhamma Sankappa, which is thoughts of renunciation. Now, thoughts of renunciation, it is spoken of not by idle thought, no. When we go through a natural cognizing experience, within this pattern of thought and behavior of the mind and the way that it holds on, grapples or works with elements of the world, we have this inference of renunciation, nekkhamma. Do you understand? Now let us say during the process of meditation, as we will sit for meditation in 10 more minutes, right? You will hear sounds in the background, right? Not everyone in your house is meditating. Maybe you'll hear sounds in the background. Maybe your grandchildren will come running, or someone doesn't know that you're meditating, so they're on the TV or the radio or whatever that they do, right? Now in the mind, what happens? You're meditating, you're trying to focus, now the TV on. So someone is snoring. If it's Devika, someone is snoring in the background. No, he doesn't snore. Okay, good, right? Now, if let us say any sort of sound or smell or taste or feel, anything, right, is against the meditation, what do? We react, friction. Now what has happened? Is it nekkhamma sankappa or the opposite? Is it renunciation or the opposite? It's the opposite. Do you understand? If the sammaditthi is present, if right view is present, and if right view is taken into practice, then the nekkhamma sankappa has to work from thought by thought. So when that sound arises, which is against your meditation practice at this moment, it doesn't take it in a way that it is against. It takes it, this is the environment. This is the environment that I have to work with. Do you understand? So, in the Majjhima Nikaya, there is a sutra number Majjhima Nikaya 112. Chabbi Sodana Sutra, right? Which is Majjhima Nikaya. I will put it in the chat for those of you. Right? Sodana Sutra. Chabbi Sodana Sutra. Now, this Chabbi Sodana Sutra is a very important sutra when it comes to renunciation. It offers brilliant teachings on renunciation. The first part of which is going to form the base for our morning session, which is, and of course, including the sila that we have determined, which is a person who works towards enlightenment purifies through proper investigation 5 different ways of renunciation, right? Detachment. Do you understand? Detachment. Now, some of you might feel like, why is it always detachment? Why is it we had to do this? Please, when the question and answer sessions come, grill me, right? And let us discover and go deeper together, right? Go deeper together. Because the how profound or the quality or deep we go, depth we go to depends on your questions, right? So please don't hesitate to ask questions when the time comes. So the first part is detachments in regard to the 4 types of expression. Detachment in regards to 4 ways of expression. 4 ways of expression. Now, what are the 4 ways of expression, everyone? The 4 ways of expression that we experience, right, is, in Pali, it is known as, let me put it on the chat, right? Ditta Sutta, Ditta Sutta Mutta Vinyata, right? Ditta Sutta Mutta Vinyata. Vinyata means Vinyata. Ditta is detachment with regard to what is seen, everyone. What is seen. Ditta, sutta, detachment with regards to what is heard. Then mutta, detachment to what is sensed. Sensed. S-E-N-S-E-D, sensed. And vinyata, detachment towards what is cognized. Right? Detachment to, this is the very first part, everyone. This is the very first part. There are 5 through which we'll be exploring this today. Okay? There are 5. The first part is this. Detachment with regards to, because these are the ways of common expression, it says, that we have. We see, we hear, we sense, and then we cognize. Right? And then we cognize. Renunciation is first practiced towards these 4. The 4 common ways of expression. Is that understood? Right? Is that understood? How do we do this? How do we do this? When it comes to what is seen, we have an element of sight brought together by conditions that we then interpret. We must understand that sight arises with perception. This is most important. Do you understand? When we are ignorant of these natural occurrences, right? The way the mind works, we assume we do not realize that perception is involved here. We think perception arises later. You know, when you think about it, no, that is vitakka, which arises, initial thought, which arises based upon what is perceived. Do you understand? When we understand that sight and any other element that is cognized with 5 senses, it arises through perception. You realize. What do you realize? You realize that this is the way I perceived. Do you understand? That is most important, everyone. This is the way you perceive it. Right? Now, I might be trying my hardest to interpret something to you, but we realize Dil might understand it in one way, Damsiri might understand it in another, Devika might understand it in another, the rest of you might understand it in a very different way. Do you understand? But if we are open to the idea, okay, I understood it in this manner, what does that allow? Questioning, to dig deeper. But if you think, this is for sure what Bhante said, then you've cut off, maybe cut my neck in the process as well. Right? Because we don't realize what? That this data arises with our perception. It arises at the same time. Now, that is when your grandchild or maybe your children or anyone else who is living at home, something that you hear, right? Or something that you see, you remember, they are not the people who are disturbing you. You are disturbing yourself. How? Because your perception arose with agitation towards what was sensed. Is that clear? Now apply it to seen, heard, sensed, and cognized. Can you do that? Right? Seen, heard, sensed, and cognized. That is the first part of renunciation, everyone. And you will realize through, first we are going to be doing anapanasati, breathing meditation. In the breathing meditation, as different, whilst we are trying to focus, Other bits and parts may arise in the mind, sounds or whatever that is going on in the background. Renounce, attarin, right? Renounce it, realizing that it is not these external factors disturbing me. It is a fact that my perception is giving into a way of thought and perceiving in a manner where now I'm drifting away from my meditation object. Open up the mind to the possibilities that your whole day might be full of sound in your house, that your partners choose not to support you through the day. So they are going to make sound. It's fine. I will endeavor. When you open up your, because anything can happen. Anything can happen. What is it to say that everyone that you're living with is going to be 100% supportive of your practice today? Right? There's nothing. And why should they? Why should they? Right? But what are we going to do? We are going to endeavor. We are going to endeavor. Why? Because we know that they are not the ones who are disturbing. It is the way that I'm perceiving this. So with the slight alteration of telling yourself, look, I don't expect my environment to be silent. I don't expect my meditation to be peaceful. I don't expect anything. I'm just going to be in the present and have my mind upon this object, which will arise, which will pass. Even with regard to the object, I do not expect the object to be clear and vivid. I'm not going to exercise any form of control. I'm just going to ride the wave. I'm going to go with it. Renunciation. Do you understand, everyone? Is that clear? Right? And when it comes to this first four kinds of expression, what is seen, heard, sensed, and cognized, right? Cognized. It falls directly into the beautiful part. It says, it within the sutra, it says that it falls directly. The Pisunavacha, Parusavacha, Sampapalapa, and Musavada, the four types of wrong speech, refraining from the four types of wrong speech, frivolous, lying, meaningless, and hateful. These four fall in direct support of renunciation. Why? Because when you have the urge to react, when you have the urge to proliferate upon the hindrances that are, you choose, no, I am not going to. Do you understand? I really want to say something, but I'm not going to. Because why? It is pointless. Because it might be coming from a place of hate. It might be coming from a place of where I do not have a proper thing that I want to establish, right? And you realize everything starts falling into place. Peace and serenity becomes being a tool, a foundation within your environment of mind. Is that clear, everyone? Very well. Now, let us sit for meditation. Sitting comfortably, we will be practicing breathing meditation for an hour. So let us sit comfortably. Your hands on your lap. Taking a deep breath in. As you breathe out, letting go of any need to control anything that you're expecting, all expectations, let it go out the door. Leave it beside you. And for this moment and this session of practice, let us completely surrender to the present moment, putting aside the past and the future. Taking a deep breath in, supporting you to go deeper and deeper into the present. Observe how the body is disposed, sitting here with your eyes gently closed, your hands resting on your lap, the body relaxed, the legs stable in front of you, resolute in posture, resolute in mind. Gently, gently allow yourself to take another deep breath in, filling up the chest. Breathing out, relax, relax, relax. Deep breath in again. Breathing out, relax, gently, gently. Relax. Renounce. See how we can let go the different little parts that we might not have even thought about before. The little impediments of mind and thought that you can stop worrying about this moment. Allowing yourself to experience a deep and profound state of relaxation and peace as we gently, gently guide our attention to observe the breath, not control, not manipulate, not to mold it in our vision of what it should be as or appear like, but simply whatever the breath might be like. Just observe that. And with every moment, simply observe. Simply observe. Simply observe. Observe. Observe the rise and the fall as you breathe in and out, the organic breath, the involuntary breath, arising and passing, arising and passing. Your mind unwavering. But should the mind wander, that's fine. Just bring it back. gently guiding your mind back every time that it wanders to the present, to the breath. To the breath. A deep and profound relaxation pervading through the body as you, with every passing moment, become more and more comfortable with this present. As you choose to put aside the past and the future, to put aside the need to control, but simply being in the here, in the now. The breath becoming even more evident and clear for observing. Gently, gently, gently. Observe the breath. Observe. Observe. Making fullest use of this practice. As you advert the mind to observing the breath, meditating as if with a deep need to attain enlightenment, even within this very session. As you liberate yourself from anything that burdens the mind connected to the past and the future. Let us be within the present to observe the rising and falling of the breath. Rising and falling of the breath. Just as everything else that appears in this world. Rising and falling, arising, disappearing. You are simply to observe the nature of the breath will unfold right before the mind, the senses. Observe, observe, observe. Taking every moment as it appears and unfolds. The true power of being lies within the present, within the reality which is, not in the past and not in the future. Right this moment. So let us achieve, find a state of balance where we observe the breath, observe the arising and passing right at this very moment. Observe. 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 Observing the breath. Just as the breath is impermanent, it arises and passes. Every aspect of the breath being impermanent, arising and passing. Every time that the mind may wander, the elements to which the mind wanders are also impermanent. It arises and passes, hence guiding your attention gently back to the breath, being within the present, balancing your awareness. Balancing your awareness. Observe. being present, being aware. Being in the moment. Being in the moment. Observe the breath. Observe Gently. Let us now guide our attention to observe the whole body. Being aware, present, as we take a deep breath in, filling up the chest. Breathing out, relaxing, relaxing, gently, slowly. Taking another deep breath in, being fully aware of this present. Breathing out, relax. Deep breath in again and gently opening your eyes and awakening into the present. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. All right, everyone. So, do we need a break? A little break? Yes, okay. Let's have a little break of how many minutes? 10 minutes seems a bit too much, but that's fine. We'll give 10 minutes. Okay. I'll see you back in 10. All right, everyone. So if we make our way back, so this next hour is going to be for, or rather till 11 o'clock, is going to be for Kamatana meditation instruction. So before we move on to the meditation instructions and of course offering meditation instructions in the process, now we've understood the first part of that which leads towards let me just connect my pad. Right. So we've discussed the first part, which culminates in a deeper sense, or culminates in the first standing towards renunciation, nekkhamma. The first part being the hearing, smelling, tasting, feeling, that was summarized to ditta, sutta, mutta, vinyata. It really culminates in its whole. It speaks about hearing, smelling, feeling, tasting, touch, tactile, and the mind that cognizes, right? The 6 sensory bases. All right, everyone? The 6 sensory bases. So, the first was the 6 sense bases. My handwriting is really bad, isn't it? Let me try better. 6 sense bases. bases, right? 6 sense bases. The second one is the 5 aggregates of clinging. 5 aggregates of clinging. Right? The 5 aggregates of clinging, also bad, but we are not going to speak about that. Right. The 5 aggregates of clinging. Now, there is a part where in the Abhidhamma also we've not gone into it, but we've gone into it indirectly, but not directly, right? Now, when we speak about the 5 aggregates of clinging, right, let's separate that first, the 5 aggregates and the 5 aggregates of clinging, right? The first we have form. Let me write it in Pali. First we have Rupa, Vedana. Now pay attention, everyone. Rupa, Vedana, Sanya, Sankhara, Vijnana. Right? That's in Pali. In English, form, feeling, perception, formations, and consciousness. Right? I've not forgotten the word that we've used for sankhara. I'm using formations here today for better understanding. Okay. Now, these are the 5 aggregates, everyone. Now, this is directly related to our meditation and, of course, our perceival of whatever which is. Okay? Our perceival of whatever which is. So, bear with me. Now, when it comes to consciousness, right? When it comes to consciousness, now consciousness is how we know and we see, we smell, hear, feel, and taste. Of course, the 6 sensory bases are important, but consciousness exercises a more predominant role in all of this, right? When it comes to each and every part of the 5 aggregates. However, when we relate to this term consciousness, what we understand it is for one thing, which is sense consciousness. What we understand it is for one thing. What is that? Sense consciousness, right? Sense consciousness. However, sense consciousness within the 5 aggregates of clinging, right? 5 aggregates of clinging. Before I go there, for those of you who have not studied this, the Buddha breaks, let me just explain that for the beginners. So the Buddha breaks our existence into 2 parts, right? Nama, sorry, this is Rupa, and this part being Nama, which makes Nama plus Rupa, mind and matter, right? Mind and matter. Mind and matter, it is because, for example, self, when we look at self, self is built upon what? Self is built upon mind and matter. Self is built upon mind and matter. So what do we do as ignorant individuals, unenlightened or unaware sometimes, or defiant of the nature which is? What do? We cling with self, or with the notion of self. Oh God, sorry. With the notion of self, we attach onto rupa, materiality, forms that we hear, smell, taste, feel, tactile. We cling on to these things as my experience and my, right? Or the way that we look, or the environment that we are in. With self, we cling on to feeling, or rather, with the sense of self, we advert to form, feeling, perception, formations, consciousness. This is me. This compendium is me, right? However, when self does this, self must build itself, right? Now, self builds itself upon this basis, where now this attribute that we first clung on to in terms of self going into rupa, now rupa becomes self. Do you understand? The feeling that I cling on to, the feelings that I associate my life with and my being with, right, becomes self. So when we cling too much onto happiness, suffering, or when we go through pain, we are unable to accept it, the hard sense of self. When we cling so much into suffering and pain and anxiety and depression and all of these things, we do not see ourselves happy, because that is not me. Right? Self, exactly, everyone. So this self has this reciprocal support that it builds, right? When it attaches or cognizes, it rebuilds. So this self, what happens? It grows bigger. It grows bigger. Is that clear? So that is all you need to know for now. Going back, right? So this is known as the 5 aggregates where clinging is established. Clinging, in turn, builds or facilitates or reinforces self in every moment of existence, right? In every moment of existence. Now, we said when we talk about consciousness, we literally only think about one part of consciousness, which is sense consciousness or sense-based consciousness, or as a function, it's called sense consciousness. As a type, it is a sense-based consciousness. Exactly, everyone, right? Sense-based consciousness, however, within this spectrum of the aggregates, sense consciousness belongs in one place. Where is that? It belongs in here. Form. This is sense consciousness. Sense consciousness. Is that clear? Form is sense consciousness, and that is sense consciousness only. Is that clear? Right? As a type, I'm going to write type in blue. Type is sense-based consciousness. Is that clear? Sense-based consciousness. The second, this feeling that we have, Vedana, whether it be pleasant, unpleasant, neither pleasant nor unpleasant, right? The feeling that we derive from a certain element is an affective consciousness. Affective, right? Affective. Affective consciousness. Affective consciousness. As a type, it is a feeling-based consciousness. Feeling-based consciousness. Perception, this is a perceptive consciousness. As a type, it is a perception-based consciousness. Now, for sankhara, formations is a karmic consciousness, which is very interesting. I'm so excited. Is a karmic consciousness. This karmic consciousness as a type is a formations-based consciousness. This can be taken in a shallow manner for beginners. This can be taken as a deep for intermediaries, and then also as a deep one for even people who go beyond Sotapanna, right? So this is not just me getting too excited over something, right? This is Kammatthana, right? Now, the last one, this Vijnana, everyone, is, drum roll, is a subconsciousness, right? Vijnana is the subconsciousness, right? As a type, it is a rebirth or a life-based consciousness. This is very interesting. All right. I'm sorry. I'm getting excited about the same things I'm saying. All right. Now, is that clear, everyone? Right? Now, these consciousnesses that arise, now usually we would only think about, as I mentioned, we would only think about sense consciousness or a sense-based consciousness, which you see in front of Rupa, right? And of course, because we might not be fully aware of the potency of the consciousness and its way of operations, we might see everything as sense consciousness, but it is not. Consciousnesses as a function, what they do is, obviously, that is a function that they perform in aiding, supporting our existence. The function is in black, right? The sense, conscious, affective, perceptive, karmic, and subconscious. Those are the functions. The blue underneath are the type, right? The type. Now, when this happens, everyone, in meditation, as we would go into any sort of awareness, whether it be that we are sitting, whether we are walking, standing, or whatever it is, when we're trying to develop accordingly, right? This 5 aggregates of clinging, or the aggregates to which we cling, right? The aggregates to which we cling, these 5 above, they are done in a manner where the sense consciousness, the only thing that it does is understand what is, not understand, I'm sorry, rewording myself, is to grasp whatever that falls upon the sense base. The consciousness, the sense consciousness, it's only what it only does is to grasp what falls upon the sense base. So for sight, it is the light that brings, right, whatever shadow or whatever it is that I'm seeing onto my retina, the sense base. And the same with the eye, ear, nose, tongue, body, right? The feeling, the only thing that would do, that consciousness would do, or that consciousness type would do, is to have a certain affection with regards to that object, right? Know the object through a sense of feel. Is that clear? Know that. Mind you, I use the word consciousness. Know what consciousness? The sense consciousness object. Is that clear? Let me... Yes, you can unmute yourself, Damsari.
Can you say it again, please?
Yes. So
Yeah.
the feeling based, it has only one function, which is to have a feeling over what is now apprehended or what was apprehended by the sense consciousness, which is the first one, form, feeling, right? Feeling. Perception or sanya, its only function is to apprehend whatever that the sense consciousness displayed or sense consciousness apprehended with a sense of perception habitually known to the being. Habitually known to the being. So you will operate within your realm of experience, within the universe as you know it, within the world as you know it, within your values and demarcation of values as you know it and live it. Is that clear? Right? That is where we would then say that we do not exercise a sense of free will that goes, a sense of free will, basically. Right? From the fact of we do not have free will where we can do absolutely anything, we habitually, what we would do is we would act upon what we already know, right? We would act upon what we already know, right? What we already know. The formation-based consciousness is this. Now, the last two parts I would deem quite interesting, which is now, as beings aware, with a certain sense of awareness, we would look at formations that have arisen, right? Formations that have arisen, this one, and then assign a certain feeling to it and have a certain way of perceiving it. Formations are the intentions behind now grasping it and working with it. Do you understand? Formations, karmic consciousness would be our intentions of working with this object that we have grasped. Where do we take it from there? Where would we take it from there? Right? Here, is that not clear, Dale? Okay. Under formations, what the mind does at this moment. Yes, Anoma, do you want to say something? Okay.
Yes, Bhante, please explain it once more. Yeah, thank you.
Under formations, or a formation-based consciousness is, now let us say, a certain experience. For example, now this experience that we're having today, right? If we are learning something on it, would it not create a certain imprint where it will create a certain change if I am to do a good job with whatever, right? And to present a beautifully sort of drawn out retreat, it can change lives, right? It can affect the way that you think. It can affect the way that you perceive daily elements, right, of life. That is formation. The fact of growth. But growth does not happen. That is why the mindfulness industry is so successful, because awareness is the most powerful tool of transformation, because the moment that you become aware and you learn what you want and bring your attention down to now achieving what you want, you can do so. It alters the energy that you have, it alters the energy cycles of your body and mind. And now, in that alteration, you subscribe to a universal energy that is conducive to your attainment of what your goal is. That is karmic consciousness. Is that clear? Is that clear, everyone? That is karmic consciousness. In that karmic consciousness, what we do is, it'll come back. What we do is we create something on top of another thing which was already there. Do you understand? Something on top of another thing that was already there. Yes, still.
Can you hear me, Bhante?
Yes.
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 Thank you very much. Bhante, has it got anything to do with the fact that when we do the Bojjhangas, that always that sati, awareness comes in first? That's the first point of transcendence or transformation. Is that what you're talking about now, Bhante?
Well, I'm not talking specifically about the Bojjhangas, but what I'm talking about is about the way consciousness works and how it brings all of these attributes together, right? However, through which stream we can speak about the Bojjhangas and its potency.
Yeah, because that also begins with the sati.
Absolutely.
And now you're just saying that. Yeah. So there's immediately a light moment there. Thank you very much, Bhante. Now we realize why that comes first. Thank you, Bhante.
Knowing this, thank you so much, Dil. And for all of you who are even beginners, who might not know too much about all of these words and all of that, my only intention of presenting this is for us to dissect the workings of the mind so that we could use those teachings in a manner where we can mold and carve the life that we require, not the life that I not need for you. That's not possible. The life that you require for yourself, right? Now, karmic formations are very powerful. Why? Because they have the power of intention. That is why when Professor John Kabat-Zinn, in his definition of mindfulness, he speaks about the power of attentive or with intention, bringing the mind into focus. That mind is powerful, everyone. When you with intention do something, that is far more powerful than an act without intention. That is for sure. It's a no-brainer, right? Karmic formations is effectively what translates now form, feeling, and perception. I'm talking about the three before that we discussed, into our being. Do you understand? It is almost as the bridge between Rupa Vedana Sanya to now creating formations above or learning or growing. Of course, you decide whether you grow or you destroy yourself, whether you grow powerful or you grow weaker. That is within your realm of practice. However, this is something that you can decide. When you choose to become attentive, aware, and to see nature as it really is, not fooled by how we want to control the narrative. This is not control. This is seeing nature as it is and then being able to maneuver or be within a state of presence where we connect with nature in its utmost raw form. Because nature, understanding nature, the truth of pleasure and pain is as true as I choose not to be overwhelmed by pleasure, I choose not to be overwhelmed by pain. Both of these things is very much within your domain of being. Do you understand? Is that clear? This iPad, honestly. Right. This last one, everyone, the last one, it'll come back. The last one is the type of consciousness which now designs, I'm going to use the word designs your subconscious. Dil, do you want to say something? Your hand is up. No.
I'm sorry, that was earlier, Bhante. Sorry.
Now, the last one is consciousness, vijnana, right? Consciousness, which now designs, molds your subconsciousness. There is no lying here, everyone. You cannot fool yourself, right? However much we think we cannot fool ourselves, right? We cannot fool ourselves. The way that we perceive form, feeling, perception, and now formations on top of that all culminates or brings, right, about a certain subconscious, right? This we can very much experience when we are having something burdening our minds, the difficulty that we find in sometimes going to deep sleep, right? We might not be thinking about it, or we might have comatose ourselves on food and alcohol. However, and we might have knocked ourselves asleep. However, you're not sleeping, right? You're not fully in a deep state of healing sleep, right? This is just as much as, people assuming that, some people with coffee, they cannot sleep. Some people with coffee, they are able to fall asleep. However, the caffeine will not put you into deep sleep. So if you think that sleeping or just lying there motionless is sleep, it is really not, right? It is really not. And these healing, deep, meditative states can also be reworded within the world of mindfulness to say these are sleep, deep, rest, sleep-like states, right? Deep sleep, sleep-like states, a deep rest, sleep-like states. These deep rest, sleep-like states, everyone, the ability that we have during meditation, mindfulness, to put everything aside, to put all of our burdens aside, not pushing them aside in a way that we just simply stop thinking about it, but truly relaxing yourself, coming into the present. You realize within this present moment, the calm, the tranquility, and the peace that I feel within this present is unparalleled by any other. When I choose not to cling and agitate myself, I can very well be in a state free of agitation, within a state of peace. This is again within your control, within your control. However, the more that as a person whose keen interest lays within the mind and its workings, and of course meditation, the more that I sort of understand or go into what is happening in sort of sense cognitive manipulation, right, which happens through advertisements, media, the world, social media, and all of these things, it just makes me so scared, right? Because just imagine you are a person who lacks any sort of awareness or attention, and you just run behind everything that is fed through your sensory bases. You'll be running forever. Hamsters in a hamster wheel. There is no stopping, just simply running and running and running to achieve all these things which other people deem as the way that you become successful in life, right? Other people, and people are literally making money off of you, off of your insecurities, off of your lack of awareness and mindfulness, off of your need and desperation to feel successful. Those people are working or are sitting laid back, relaxing with all of your money, and we are like the hamsters running in that wheel, constantly thinking, if I had this, if I had that, if I feel healthier, if I do this, if I look like this, I'll be happier. It doesn't, right? Now, in this perceivable, in the letting go of this, coming back into the meditation, I mean, all of this was about meditation. What we realize or understand is with these different types of consciousness, the first, the sensory, the letting go of senses, everyone, was this part. Right? The senses. When the let me reword it. Not simply, what do I mean by letting go of the senses? Letting go of the senses means not choosing not to allow your whole scope of life to be about this millisecond of a moment, this microsecond of a moment, to determine your whole frame of mind, not letting that sensation overtake your entirety. Do you understand? Why? Because that sight, that form, that smell, that taste, that feeling, whatever that sense was, it has arisen and passed. And we are still holding on to it. You can experience a sense and let it go. For example, it is as if, right? Now, for example, let us say for many of the grandparents who are here, right? Now your children are older, they're mature, they have families. Now they are, you don't care too much about them. They're good, but they're okay, right? You don't need to think. But the grandchildren are such a place, such Achilles heel for grandparents who are practitioners. But the thing is, and we also feel a sense of, okay, going into Dhamma, we feel like, how can I, I have to enjoy them when they are younger, But the thing is, this is the Miccha Ditti, wrong view, right? Why do you think that you will not be able to enjoy if you don't cling? We assume that non-clinging, right, equals no enjoyment, which is absolutely ridiculous, right? It is absolutely ridiculous. Imagine, in the Buddha's sense of the most purest form of love becomes the image of maternal love, motherly love, where you give, you serve, you help, you support without the intention of receiving back, right? Without the intention of receiving back. That purity of love is deemed by the Buddha to be the highest form of love that we can master in our human lives, right? This sort of love is, I like to use the word maternal love because that sense of, it's talking about that feminine aspect of love, right? Which is present in men as well. It is not just a female thing. It is present in men as well. That aspect, right? Because masculine love is more about protection and guardianship, right? Feminine love is more about that love, care, compassion, that aspect of it. Of course, masculine love and feminine love must exist together for that love to be competent, right? So this maternal sense of love, there is no base of clinging in it. The view that we assume that without clinging, there is no enjoyment, without clinging, there is no true love is false, is absolutely false. When we change our pattern of thinking, what happens? This is where the Sotapatti, the first path to stream entry arises, which is the conformity to the Dharma. What is the conformity of the Dharma? The conformity to the Dharma, the conformity to Dharma is conformity to nature. I lived my life. Now I am mature in years. My body, my joints, I'm failing. It's fine. This is life. I've lived. I have to one day go. I enjoy. I realize that this is not going to last forever. It's fine. I am within the present. I am not deluded by any means that this is going to last forever, and I don't expect it to last forever. I don't expect it to last forever. Conformity, that conformity to Dhamma is what brings about the Sotapatti Magga Phala. Nothing else. Conformity to Dhamma, which is, we can reword it. I don't like the rewording of this specific term. It says conformity to Buddha's worldview, which is a little bit irksome for me to hear, because I feel like that just the Buddha's worldview. What is the Buddha's, you know what I mean? Like it's a bit really very too religious for me, right? The Buddha's worldview. I rather sort of call it conformity to Dhamma, because Dhamma was what the Buddha professed, of course, understood with his meditative insight, but it was nothing to do with the Buddha. The Buddha showed us or taught us what he, through his meditative and keen meditative insight, saw. So when we word it as the Buddha's worldview, it's a bit irksome to me, right? But conformity to Dhamma is conformity to what is the natural nature and order of things, which all of which we have just discussed falls into. Now, when we sit in our meditation, everyone, we are going to continue. We are not done here, right? We are going to continue through the day. I'm going to teach you and develop on this, right? Here, when you have a certain sense of sense-based arising, that is form, that is impermanent nature. When you have a certain, if you remember, a pleasant experience and then pleasant feeling or unpleasant feeling arises, right? Or a certain emotion arises, a certain, you feel lazy, you feel like you got to stop. Watch that mindfully to observe that that too arises and it passes. Your perception, you hold on to things with a certain perception, a certain view of it, right? And that view that you have, that perception that you have, or the way that you hold or grapple to that, open your mind up to say, okay, I see it this way, but it can be seen in other ways too. Open it up. Open it up. Then the insight blooms, right? Because the more that you try to understand it within your realm of life and experience, if you have no insight, how is insight now going to bloom? Do you understand? Open the mind up. Open it up not to anything else. Open it up to the potential that is possible in this world right here, right now. Is that clear, everyone? Then the sankharas, the karmic formations. These karmic formations is a very powerful tool. That is what brings about the life-changing aspect of vipassana, insight meditation, awareness, if done properly, right? Because mindfulness, as the secular mindfulness goes, it can be a harmful practice as well, if not done properly. If done without the proper intentions, the good intentions, right? It can become harmful. But if done properly, it can be a very powerful tool. Intention. Why? Why, for example, if I am to tell you, I'm going to give you £1,000,000, what would your feeling be for £1,000,000? Would you be happy? Would you be unhappy with it? You can nod or word yourself. You'll be happy with it, I'm guessing. Well, who doesn't like £1,000,000, right? But now say, no brainer. I mean, there's something critically wrong if you're going to say, I'm going to be unhappy with it, right? Now, let us say I'm going to give you 10 million, right? However, you're not going to wake up tomorrow morning. What would you choose? What would you choose? The first one or the second one? You can show me your hands, first or the second. 10 million and death, or no 10 million and life? The second one?
Not 10 million and die.
No 10 million and life. But the thing is, didn't we get that today? You have life. You value your ability to wake up today in the morning. You were able to wake up. So why are you not happy just as much as you've received 10 million or you have 10 million in your account? Why are you not happy? Because we are not. We don't have that sense of awareness, the potential, the limitless potential. If you chose life over 10 million, then you have life. You got up today in the morning. You're living another day. You have more time to spend with your loved ones and to do what you love. So why are we not feeling that sense? Why are we not feeling that same sense of accomplishment and happiness? That is karmic formations, everyone. That is karmic formations. That is the power of intent. That is the power of you living a life that is yours, not just waking up because the alarm went off. Does that make sense? And then that culminating experience, when you plan out your daily to-dos and you've done what you had to do through the day, planning out the day that you want to have, and you've built that day and you've experienced that day for yourself, that happiness that you have of accomplishment, just as much as you've gone through an hour of meditation now and you're sitting through this retreat, that sense of accomplishment, these are not easy things. These are not easy things. Some people might even think that you're off your head for, being in front of a computer meditating on a Sunday, right? These are not easy, but you're doing it. That intent, that intentful action builds that subconscious, whether that subconscious is now going to be happier, whether that subconscious is going to feel the gratitude of life, whether that subconscious is going to feel the happiness of accomplishment, any of that, that's up to you. Not up to me, not up to anyone. Take that power that you have given. You have literally taken that power and you've given it to everyone else. Take it back. That's no one else's. You determine. But that freedom to take it back comes with, it's not free. Freedom is a very expensive commodity. It comes with the ability with responsibility. With responsibility that arises, or responsibility that you are able to maneuver the ship properly. What is the best way to start? Right intentions. Why is it that I do what I do? What is it that I want to get out of what I do? Does that make sense, everyone? Okay. Meditation time. Okay. Because we have 3 more minutes. Does anyone have any questions?
Bante?
Yes, Amata.
Oh, just a quick question. Oh, that's amazing. I need to listen to it again. To me, the first thing, well, Bante was explaining the Paticcasamuppada, the 4 links, or well, the first 4 or 5 links arose. And I was just thinking, as Bante was explaining, the link between the consciousness and the Nama Rupa, as explained in the Paticcasamuppada. Is that what Bante was sort of trying to explain here? And how is that compares with that, please?
Yes. So we can go into that depth. We surely can. right? And this is actually that same link. But of course, when we speak with regards to dependent origination, we can go even more deeper, right?
Right.
In discussing craving and the intent of craving being a part of what we call gati, right? Which is the nature, our habitual nature. But that part, Samantha, I'm going to go into it in the afternoon.
Wonderful.
Right? I'm going to go into it in the afternoon and also show you, hopefully, get it out properly, right? Get it out of myself properly, which will form the doorway into Sotapanna Margapala, right? So we are going to go into that in the afternoon. Sotapanna, for those of you who are new, Sotapanna Margapala is the first stage of enlightenment. So we are going to go in there, Samatha, but yes, in essence, it is what we were talking about, right? But this cross-section of teachings is on its own. It was about consciousness and the way consciousness works in apprehending the 5 aggregates, right? Through which we form self, right? Through which we form self. And the fact that this self can be a habit-driven motion, this self, through awareness and attentive being, it can be a process where we take over the wheel as well.
Wonderful.
Right?
Sadhu. Thank you.
And that we have the power to do that.
And just quickly, that Nama Rupa, is that in the Paticca is that the same as the 5 aggregates?
This Nama Rupa that we've discussed can be down to a whole, actually, it can culminate, which we have just discussed. It's actually the whole of the Paticca in 5. It's not just Nama Rupa aggregate. It's not just the Nama Rupa phase in Paticca. It's the whole Paticca in 5.
Summarized in the 5, yeah.
Yes, I will expand upon it in the afternoon, but I'm afraid if there are
Of course.
who, might not have the foundations, whether they would be able to understand, but I will try.
Wonderful. Thank you, Bhante. Sadhu.
Okay, everyone, silent meditation time, right? Let us now put away our books and notebooks and all of that. Come into this moment of presence. Let us practice. Breathing meditation yet again. But now, in this instance, try to maneuver our minds and keep our minds within a state of presence on our own. How do we steer the ship and face the ups and downs of meditation? Being in the present, letting go of the past, the future, gently closing our eyes. Deep breath in, breathing out, letting go, letting go, letting go, letting go, letting go, letting go, feeling lighter and lighter, lighter and lighter. Embracing the present, being with the breath. May we be able to attain Nibbana right at this moment. Within this session, through fostering deep and penetrative insight into the workings of the mind and the body and nature, within and all around us, the universe as a whole. Through the breath, let us journey into the nature of all things, free of clinging and self. Let us observe the rising and passing breath. Let us let go of all the impediments that causes us only grief and pain. Let us let go of all the burdens that we carry and give us this very moment to experience a state where we understand that carrying a burden does not mean that the burden is being resolved in the process, that the issue is not resolved by feeling its burden and tightness. Let us take a deep breath in and let go, mind and body. Feel a liberating sense of peace, being resolute in the path. Being resolute in the path. Harnessing the energy of all practitioners all across the world. Sharing the energy of the Buddhas. Sharing the support and vibrations of all of our fellow meditators within this retreat and beyond this retreat. Letting go of this world for this moment and excelling beyond it in mind. Pain might arise, but we will not be moved. Pleasure may arise, but we will not be moved. May the great winds blow from all directions, but I will stand still. Observe the breath. Observe. Gently. Let us now take a deep breath in. Breathing out, relaxing mind and body. Coming into the present. Becoming aware of your surroundings. As you gently open your eyes and awaken into the present. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. All right, everyone. We'll be taking our lunch break and we'll be resuming at 2 o'clock UK time. So I'll see you all then. There on Sunday.